Kevin Young, Bunk, The Rise of Hoaxes, Humbug, Plagiarists, Phonies, Post-Facts, and Fake News. Dive into the captivating world of a Bunk, The Rise of Hoaxes, Humbug, Plagiarists, Phonies, Post-Facts, and Fake News by Kevin Young, where you'll discover the history, impact, and ubiquity of hoaxes in American culture. From the Great Moon Hoax of 1835 to recent political events, this book reveals how hoaxes have shaped American identity and spread across various domains. As you explore these engaging themes, you'll learn about the earliest hoaxes, their implications on race and society, and the transformation enabled by the internet that has allowed hoaxes to achieve new heights in today's world.
American Hoaxes, From Moon to Politics. Reality TV shows deceive, and such deception is rampant in American culture, dating back to the early 1800s. The Great Moon Hoax of 1835 exemplifies this cultural inclination for fabricating stories, and since then, the proliferation of internet-based hoaxes diminished the general public's concerns for credible information. With the election of Donald Trump, American politics have become infiltrated by this hoaxing culture. To overcome this dangerous shift, understanding the origins and function of hoaxes is vital. The concept of deception and fabrication lies deep-rooted in American history, with hoaxes ingrained in the very development of the nation. A prominent early example is the Great Moon Hoax of 1835, where Richard Adams Locke, editor of the New York Sun, published articles falsely claiming signs of life on the moon. This directed a mass of misleading credits toward South African astronomer Sir John Herschel, which caught the fascination of many Americans. In a time when America was grappling to define its identity, the spread of fake information found its place as a distinct ingredient in the nation's narrative. It created a parallel with the American ideology of self-made identity, backed by the freedom to choose who to become. However, with the advent of the internet, this hoaxing culture has accelerated, affecting the overall credibility of news. Fast forward to 2016, Donald Trump's election reinforced the notion that hoaxes had permeated politics. His image as a self-made man, despite coming from an affluent family, and his ambiguous relationship with the truth, exemplify this infiltration. The troubling indifference of some American citizens towards the truthfulness of their leaders' claims underlines the dangerous heights this hoax-filled culture has reached. Recognizing and understanding the historical origins and functioning of hoaxes is critical in addressing this alarming trend in American society. This knowledge can pave the way towards acknowledging the importance of credibility in information dissemination and, ultimately, to restoring truthfulness in American culture and politics. Unraveling the intriguing hoax. Throughout history, hoaxes have captured public interest, regardless of their credibility. Two examples of persuasive hoaxes include P.T. Barnum's tale of Joyce Haight and William Mumler's spirit photography. Both instances reveal that successful hoaxes appeal to people's desires, often capitalizing on significant cultural and social undercurrents. A hoax is a powerful tool designed to captivate an audience and evoke their interest, without needing to be entirely credible. One notable example is P.T. Barnum's exploitation of people's curiosity in the 19th century, introducing a blind black woman, Joyce Haight, and claiming she was George Washington's nursemaid. With this assertion, Haight would have been 161 years old at the time. Barnum cleverly utilized the period's abolitionist sentiments and public fascination with early American history to his advantage while raising money to supposedly free Haight's family. In allowing people to interact with Haight and judge the authenticity of his claim, Barnum successfully drew in the masses. It was not until after Haight's death and a public autopsy that Barnum's deception came to light, revealing the truth of his intentions and exposing the inherent paradox of American slavery in the hoax. Another example of a successful hoax is spirit photography in the 1860s, created by William Mumler. Amidst the growing popularity of spiritualism, an emerging belief in communication with the dead, Mumler claimed his camera could capture images of the deceased. Though there was no empirical evidence supporting his claim, he was able to exploit the grief of those yearning to connect with their late loved ones. Among those drawn to this phenomenon were prominent figures, such as the First Lady Mary Todd Lincoln, who sought to communicate with her late son Willie. In both instances, the success of the hoaxes hinged on appealing to the desires of people, whether it was satisfying their curiosity or providing solace in times of loss. Manipulating these desires enabled hoaxers to profit from their schemes and exploit pressing social issues. In many cases, the motivation behind a hoax extends beyond captivating an audience. The individuals orchestrating the spectacle often possess ulterior motives, such as perpetuating racial stereotypes and profiting off dominant social narratives. Delving deeper into the world of hoaxes can help us understand the intricacies of human behavior, the desires that drive us, and the complex historical and social contexts that give rise to them. Hoaxes and racial perceptions. The concept of race and the act of creating hoaxes both emerged during the Age of Enlightenment in the 18th century. Often, hoaxes have been used to perpetuate racial prejudices and white supremacy. For instance, Barnum's Human Zoo, which showcased individuals from various ethnicities in dehumanizing ways, bolstered racial hierarchies. Similarly, the contemporary example of Rachel Dolezal, a white woman who falsely presented herself as a black woman, reveals the underlying connection between hoaxes and white privilege. Ultimately, these hoaxes expose hidden aspects of racism and white supremacy more than initially intended. During the Age of Enlightenment, society became obsessed with categorizing humans within a racial hierarchy. Concurrently, the era of hoaxes began, often exploiting racial differences. Barnum's Human Zoo capitalized on this fascination by presenting people of various ethnicities in degrading ways, such as displaying a black man as a missing link in evolutionary theory. This allowed white people to reaffirm their perceived superiority through entertainment. The case of Rachel Dolezal, a white woman pretending to be black, illustrates the intricate relationship between hoaxes, white privilege, and racism. Dolezal's insistence on identifying as black, even after her deception was revealed, highlights the privileges she holds as a white person. Through examining hoaxes both historical and modern, it becomes clear that they often mirror and perpetuate harmful cultural beliefs about race. The dangers of cultural hoaxes. Hoaxes can have significant repercussions, especially when they involve cultural misrepresentation. They can perpetuate long-held racist perspectives, erase authentic narratives, and hinder constructive discussions on cultural issues. Two examples demonstrate the harmful effects of hoaxes: the case of Iraqi Yasasada, a faux Hiroshima survivor, and Tim Barris, who wrote fake memoirs under the identity of a Navajo. Both instances reveal the dark side of hoaxes and emphasize the need for vigilance in discerning fact from fiction, as well as the importance of safeguarding authentic minority voices and preserving cultural history. At first glance, hoaxes may seem to be nothing more than harmless pranks. However, they can have harmful consequences, particularly when they involve the misrepresentation of cultures. Posing as members of minority groups, hoaxers may perpetuate racial stereotypes and erase real cultural histories, ultimately hindering meaningful discussions about change or preservation in these communities. In the mid-1990s, the United States was introduced to the poetry of Iraqi Yasasada, supposedly a survivor of Hiroshima. The work, later revealed to be a hoax by American poet Kent Johnson, suggested that Japan lacked avant-garde cultural movements, leading Yasasada to seek inspiration from the West. This faulty portrayal fueled misconceptions about Japan and spread clichés about the country's mystical allure. Another case saw Anglo writer Tim Barris adopt a false Navajo persona, publishing 3 memoirs under the name Nasage. Barris even signed books and accepted prizes, perpetuating the notion of Native American suffering until his deception was exposed in 2006. By fabricating a Navajo identity, Barris obscured the true cultural history of Navajo people and prevented genuine discussions about their community. These instances illustrate the substantial damage hoaxes can inflict on our understanding of cultures and minority groups. To avoid the pitfalls of deception, it is crucial to prioritize authentic voices and maintain a healthy skepticism regarding the origins and intentions of the information we consume. The evolution of hoaxes. Barnum's hoaxes, while rooted in racial prejudices, initially aimed to captivate audiences with wonder. However, over time, hoaxes evolved into something far more sinister, fueled by America's fascination with horror. This shift was exemplified by Orson Welles' notorious War of the Worlds radio broadcast in 1938. It induced a nationwide panic by playing on people's fears and anxieties, foreshadowing the dark form hoaxes would take in modern times. Janet Cook's Pulitzer Prize-winning Jimmy's World article in 1980 is another example. This false story perpetuated harmful racial stereotypes and depicted an 8-year-old heroin addict as a product of modern America. Today's hoaxes not only deceive but cast a wide net, revealing society's most unsettling horrors. Unmasking the age of euphemism. In our so-called post-factual era, individuals often obscure truth with euphemisms and carefully chosen words. Faction, the blending of fact and fiction, has grown alarmingly prevalent since the 1990s, further fueled by the rapid spread of information and misinformation via the Internet. These hoaxes widely appeal to an audience hungry for spectacle over truth. A prime example can be seen in the success of Donald Trump's presidential campaign, which capitalized on this trend and worsened divisions within society. To address and overcome America's narrative crisis, it is crucial to understand the complexities behind these hoaxes and open conversations capable of driving societal change. Welcome to the age of euphemism, where people often don't mean precisely what they say. We thrive on the border of fact and fiction. Witnessing the rapid rise of hoaxes and faction, such occurrences have infiltrated our collective consciousness since the 1990s. The age of information has a dark side, marked by the simultaneous emergence of the age of disinformation. During the early 2000s, even reputable news outlets supported problematic narratives. Case in point, the New York Times indirectly endorsed America's war efforts by reporting on Iraq's alleged possession of weapons of mass destruction without questioning the government's claims. The Internet shoulders a significant portion of the blame due to its propensity for hoaxes to spread quickly and widely. Recall the gay girl in Damascus blog, which went viral, only to be debunked as the creation of a white American man. The crux of this issue, however, lies in a narrative crisis that values spectacle over truth. Consider how American society accepts the blurring of real and fictitious. In Donald Trump's presidential campaign, supporters remained unfazed by his cavalier attitude toward the truth, prioritizing entertainment over accuracy. Disturbingly, the phenomenon of the hoax intensifies societal divides, such as racism. Trump's fabrication succeeded, partly due to the inherent racist tendencies among many of his supporters who feel superior to minority groups. Confronting the truths unveiled by these hoaxes may prove challenging, but it is imperative to understand this narrative crisis for what it is. Only then can we begin conversations that drive true change in society's structure.
Kevin Young's Bunk provides an insightful examination of the impact and prevalence of hoaxes in American culture, revealing how they have shaped history and continued disrupting the social fabric. From the early fabrications of the 19th century to the perpetuation of racism and white supremacy, and the current invasion of hoaxes in politics, this book offers a comprehensive analysis of the intertwined nature of lies, race, and power. As we navigate an increasingly connected and deceptive world, it becomes essential to understand the origins, functions, and dangers associated with hoaxes in order to foster more genuine and productive conversations. The book serves as a timely warning and an eye-opening call to action for readers to examine their own biases, assumptions, and the information they consume.